Got the box all opened up and the packing material all removed. There's a lot of parts in here. And this is going to be a fun one to put together. I got some tables set up out here. I'm going to assemble the boom on top of those tables. I just have to level them all, make sure they're all the exact same height and that they're all level. You'll see why when I get to the boom. I have the whole antenna out here. I'm going to start taking it out of the box. I did start assembling some of it last night. I assembled the boom plate, the mash plate, and I put together the collars for the elements, and I also put together all the clamps. All right, let me start taking all that out of the box, the packaging, and we'll get putting this thing together. So I'm starting out with the boom, and we have the boom splice, which is this piece here. And what they want us to do is mark from the end in 20 inches, which will be the center of that pole. So I'm going to measure that out, put my line around that, because then this slips into the boom and the other half slips on the other end of it. So we want that mark to know that this is centered inside of these two pipes, because once it's together you can't see that anymore. All right, let me get that mark on there and start putting this together. Okay, I got the boom laid out on my tables. These tables are all leveled and at the exact same height. And I have it upside down at the moment because, as you notice, the element, oh, what are those called? Oh, clamp sleeves. The part that the element goes onto. They're all just loosely on there right now. Nothing is even snugged up. But I put the mounting plate on it with two of the clamps and all of the collars. That's what those are called, collars. And as you see, I have my black line that's on the center of the boom splice. So now I'm going to slide that plate over. Oh, I had you a little high, didn't I? We're going to slide that plate over and put these two together. So we can still see our black line in there, and I'm going to just put that up, butt it up against it. And what I'm going to do is center this, and we're going to snug up this part first. Now, as you see, nothing moves, and that pipe on the inside will also be compressed. These will be compressed onto it, so it can't move inside of there. I'm going to start at this end, and we're going to put our tape measure on the all the way on the outer end of it, like it says in the instructions. And then we're going to come over this way, and at 85 inches, we're going to put a mark. So we want to mark right there at 85 inches. And then we're going to pull off again from that same outer end of the mast, 153.5. So we're going to go all the way over here to 153.5. So what we do with that is this gets slid over to that 153.5, and then this one, let's put that marker away. This one gets slid. Oh, I snugged that one, that's right. It can't be that tight, I tightened it. I'm going to put that one over to the 85-inch mark. Alright, let's see. We are not sitting flat down on that end. There we go, we're flat. And flat, that should be square. It is indeed. Alright, we have all three of them flat. I'm going to find a 14mm wrench and snug these up a little. Well, my rotor uses a 1.5-inch mast, and the antenna wants a 2-inch mast. Well, that means I need to add some spacing because I'm going to run out of threads before it's tight. So what I did was the back side of the nut that comes from Maco, it's like what's on a muffler clamp. It's a self-locking. So I added a lock washer in the back, an oversized nut that fits over the threads. So that nut will lock with that lock washer, and then this nut will lock to that nut. And that'll allow me to have enough thread on the U-bolt to tighten against my too small mast pipe. All right, I have all the bottom sections of the elements put on here, but I wanted to share something with you. I see these assembled incorrectly very often. The slots, put them on the side, and then the clamp goes on this way because the most pressure is going to be against going down that way. So this will give the nice smooth round clamping to that, and then also when you turn it over, that screw pushes against right on the center of that half of the element. But you really do not want that screw to end up on that slot. So just pay attention to how you set the elements and have those slots running with the boom. And then you can put the screws right down to the bottom and tighten that up. Elements are all attached at the bottom, just the lower half of the elements. I need to mark the top halves and put them in. But look at that. Can you see that? It's all lined up perfect. Tiny little nuts. Don't tighten that too much. We don't want to tighten that up yet because we still got to slide that over the element. Now I gotta get out another bolt. I did shortchange myself. I thought I needed one more. One more bolt, a nut, and a lock washer. All right, we're not going to tighten up any of this yet because we need to pull some measurements. Actually, that, I believe, goes right to the bottom. Yep, that bit gets butted right up to the bottom. Our coax connector gets pointed towards the mast. And the way the instructions show, the gamma match goes on the right element facing front there. So if I'm standing over here at the back of the antenna looking towards the front, the gamma match belongs on that side. All right, I gotta pull some measurements, get this all where it's supposed to be, at least for the initial setup. We may have to adjust it later, but we're gonna snug it up for now. If it's good, then we'll tighten it up firm. Starting to get a little warm now that the sun's coming out. Yeah. So we just got to loosen up this clamp because we need to slide that gamma out. What we need to have it out at, we have right in our instructions here. It shows you the gap between the end here. Look up here, bro. The end of this black rubber to, I'm sorry, this end of the black rubber. We're not on that one yet. This end of the black rubber to the aluminum pole, and they want us to be roughly 2 1/4. It says 2.2 there, but in the instructions it says 2.25. So we're gonna go 2 1/4 inches. We need to slide that up some. Oh, now we're way too far. I'm gonna just use that though because it slid it pretty well. Now, if we come around over here, I don't know if you can actually see that tape measure. It's on the other side of me. But you can see we're at 2 1/4. from here to here. So let me just snug this up. Again, I'm not going to completely tighten this yet because we may have to adjust it later. Like I said, if the tune is good on it right from the factory settings, then we'll just tighten everything up. But for now, we're just going to snug it. All right, now we have to move the slider, and the slider gets measured differently. The slider, we are going to measure from the front edge, from this edge here, up to the back edge here. And we want 28 inches in between the two. Now I know we're not there yet because, wow, 28 inches puts that way out there. Go, slide, slide, slide. 28 inches is gonna be roughly around there. Let's see, how close did I get? Oh, I went way too far. I'm at 29 1/4. Still gotta go in just a little. I'm gonna explain that. So what I did was, see, like I was saying earlier, on some other antennas it tells you what to mark these poles at. Usually it's a measurement up from here and you put a mark. In here they're giving us just the overall length of the element. So what I did was I took the overall length, subtracted the 72 inches that these poles are, and came up with my numbers to put my marks at. So we're going to have two of them at 68.5 inches. So I'm going to put my tape measure on this outer end. And we're going to go way down on this one. Way down. Am I coordinated enough? I am. Whew. Oh, that's way out there, isn't it? So that's the longest element. That only ends up being in, oh, just over 2 inches. Alright, so we're going to have that one. And that one is going to be the same as this one. So these two we can mark together. And we're going to want those marks to be just inside, because if you noticed, oh, whacking shit around, the end of the antenna is actually going to be where the bolt is, not the excess. So this one we want 62.5. Where is that 62.5? Right there. And again, I'm going to have two of them at this length. So we can take and just butt them up and transfer our mark. And again, when I slide these into the driven element, those will be just hiding that line. And now we have the director, which this one's going to slide in quite a bit. This one only sticks out 55.5 inches. Way down here. Put up our ends. Transfer our mark. That's enough for us to be able to see it. Alright, now we need the clamps. And if you notice, can you look up here, Burp? What I talked about earlier, down at the boom, when I lined up the lines on the elements, when you line it up down there, look at that, it ends up lined up on this end also. so the two notches are going in the right direction and the holding power will be proper on it. We need to move that antenna over though, because I'm going to hit the building with the elements over there.
So it will get that.
Oh, yeah. This end doesn't go in very far.
Good thing you moved it over.
Huh?
Good thing you moved it over, or it would be hitting your garage.
Oh, move the antenna over. Yeah, it's kind of close to me. I don't want to pull towards the garage. Following the instructions, Maco recommends that you take a piece of wood and put some nails in it. I have the first nail on this end, and I have the wood all scabbed together to be able to get enough length. And if we come down here, we want to have a nail at 160 inches, 164, and 171. That's the reflector. The 164 is the active, and the 160 is for the director. So I'm going to bring out the wire now and attach a piece to that end, string it on down here, and make up our wire lengths for this. The wire, you take the wire and you stick it into the end of the PVC. I slid the cap on first. Make sure that cap is going in that direction when you slide it on the wire. You take the wire inside of the PVC, and there's holes in the side. We want to send it through one of those holes. And we're gonna just slide this along. I still have that wire secured to the nail down there. So this is supposed to end up right there. And then we take the wire and we wrap the wire around 4 times, keeping it spaced even. So we have 1 wrap, 2 wrap, 3, and then the 4th one goes in the hole. And get the end of that wire. String it through there. Oh, careful, I'm almost making a knot here. Wow, it just keeps wanting to go back at itself. Let it just go back at itself, right? We'll untangle it later, as long as we don't kink it. We're gonna get this as snug as we can. Wire wrapped around. Look at that. Pulled in there. We now have our 4 wraps around. And now we're going to take this cap, and this one we're going to slide it opposite of what we did the other one. String the wire through the hole that's in it. That was a lot easier than the coil, wasn't it? Trying to do this to keep those wires evenly spaced. Which means I gotta twist this on. Yeah, once it's on, we'll be able to feel the wire inside. Yeah. I can feel that it's still spaced right. All right, Barbara's gonna hang on to that coil for me right in the center of that mark. And I am gonna come over here and adjust this wire. I had to go back and make sure the camera was recording this time. Good. Now we need to flip the antenna. Look at that. It's all together. I do have to adjust the wires on the ends there. I just got to push them down a little bit. Nice. It's up on the test pole. Let's go check it and see what its tune is at. We have it set just at where Maco said to put it. We're gonna go see what it tuned out like. I had put this on the pole after dark last night. And oh, as you see, there's another pole on the ground there. I did have this extended higher. This was at 18 feet. I just couldn't pick it up. With the rotor and the antenna on the top of the pole, it was just way too heavy. So I had to knock the pole down. I have just my 10-foot pole on there that's about a foot above the ground at the bottom. And then a little stub at the top. So we're roughly 11 and a half, 12 feet up off the ground. All right, let's go see what the tune is like on it. All right, well, the initial tune on channel 20, 1.5 and 50 ohms of resistance. I'm going to lower it down and see if I can get that SWR a little bit better. The resistance is good, though. If we go up, you're going to see it. It goes the SWR. Oh, my button got stuck. When we go up, the SWR doesn't change a whole lot, but look at the resistance. The resistance went way down. Same thing if we go to the bottom. The resistance is going to end up being high. The SWR didn't change all that much. 1.55 to 1.62. All right, let me lower that antenna down and see if I can get a better tune. All right, I did some fine tuning to the gamma match. First I moved the gamma rod, and that brought my resistance closer to where I need to be for my favorite channel, channel 38. And it did not change the SWR, though. The SWR was still around 1.6. So then I moved the slider on the gamma match, and that brought the SWR down, did not change the resistance. So we now have a 1.19 SWR and 45 ohms of resistance on my favorite channel. I may still tinker with it some more and see if I can get it a little bit better, but that's a pretty good tune as is. All right, guys, that's it for the Maco VQ3. I will be doing a lot of comparing this antenna to my 2-element Yagi. So stick around for that. Maybe we'll get some good clips and get some good radio checks. And I'll have the antenna hooked to a switch box so I can just switch back and forth for the comparisons. All right, guys, I'll catch you next time. Have a good one, and thanks for watching.